25 जून की प्रातः सभा है। आहा, आज कैसा दिवस है कि मनहरनी माँ हम बच्चों बीच न रही। सब मधुबन निवासी अपनी माँ के आह्वान में सारी रात अखंड निष्ठा की ज्योत जगाए बैठे।
Om Shanti. What a day this is. It's the 25th of June and our Mama is no more with us. And so all of the residents of Madhuban stayed awake the whole night, lit lamps, and remained in Baba's remembrance to invoke our mother again. Mother, O Mother, you are the bestower of fortune for all.
बैठे तो जरूर है कि बच्चों को फरमान है कि देवत के बाप को याद करते रहो.
You are all sat here, and so definitely the children have received the order to continue to remember the Father of the Unlimited.
जरूर जो भी नाम रूप वाले बच्चे हैं, जो भी बाप के सर्विस में हैं, उनसे ये योग और ज्ञान सुनना है.
And so all of you children who are here in a name and form, all those that are present in service, they definitely have to hear this and remain within knowledge and yoga.
सुनाएंगे कि बाप को याद करो, क्योंकि वर्षा उनसे मिलते हैं.
And they hear that you have to remember your father because you gain your inheritance from him.
अच्छा, मम्मा भी तो वही सुनाती है.
And Mama also shares this.
बच्चे भी वही सुनाते हैं.
And the children also share this with others.
कि शिव बाबा को याद करो.
That remember Shiv Baba.
तुम भी बच्चे जो यहाँ बैठे हुए हो, ये बैठे हुए हो शिव बाबा के याद में.
And you children that are sat here, you are sat here in Shiv Baba's remembrance.
धन अब तक भी याद में बैठे हैं कि कोई वंडरफुल कोई हो जाए बात, कोई क्या भी हो सकते हैं, वो तो देखना है साथियों कर करके.
And so you're definitely sat here in remembrance, and something wonderful could happen. It's possible, we just have to watch that as detached observers.
कोई फिक्र नहीं करना है, क्योंकि तुम बच्चे क्यों न रहते फख्र में हो. किस फख्र में हो? हम बेहद के बाप से हम सब जो भी मम्मा बाबा है साकार, वो वर्षा ले रहे हैं.
And you don't have any concern because you remain in intoxication. So you don't have any concern, fikr, because you remain in intoxication, fakur. And what intoxication do you remain in? You remain in the intoxication that all of us in the corporeal, including Mama and Baba, are claiming our inheritance.
अच्छा, इनमें कोई भी समझे जाते हैं तो फिर अपन कह देंगे कि ये तो भावी है, गलत पहले भी ये हुआ था.
And so when we are explaining to anyone, we would say that whatever is happening now, it also happened in the previous cycle. And so then they would also not have any concerns and would also remain in their intoxication.
तो बाप से वर्षा लेना है और कहाँ भी हो हमको तो बाप को भी याद करना है.
Because we're going to claim our inheritance from the Father, and wherever we are, we have to remember the Father.
मुरली सुननी है तो बाप से नाते ही रहते हैं.
All of us remain in that one connection with the Father.
आज मम्मा गई थी, कल कोई चले जाएंगे, कहीं बाप को मुरली सुनानी है जरूर.
Today Mama has gone, tomorrow someone else might go, but the Father has to continue to speak the Murli definitely.
इसका रथ तो है कायम. जिसे तुम बच्चों को बाबा नहीं मिल पाए और धीरे आज समझाते रहते हैं.
We have this faith, and the Father continues to explain new things to you each day. He continues to explain.
यही सबको कहते रहते हैं कि बच्चे बाप को याद करो, कोई भी नाम रूप में फंसो मत, कोई भी.
And he continues to explain that children continue to remember the Father and don't get stuck in anyone's name and form.
समझे नहीं? समझो कोई मम्मा को याद में शरीर छोड़ देते हैं, मम्मा को याद करते करते तो उनको कोई संगति तो हो ही नहीं सकती है.
And so you understand, don't you, children, that if you continue to remember Mama, there's not going to be any benefit in that, is there?
ये तो ज्ञान है सब बच्चों के लिए कि कोई भी किस्म का इनको फिक्र न रहे, बल्कि सफरों में रहे और जो देखते रहे समझे ये कल पहले भी ऐसे ही हुआ था.
And so you have to remember the Father and stay in your intoxication of claiming your inheritance from him. And anything that happens, just understand within yourself that it also happened like this in the previous cycle.
भले समझाते रहते थे ये जगदम्बा तो सीखा है तो गाड़ी में और साथी चलने वाली है परंतु नहीं, ये देखा गया कि नहीं ये बाबा भी कल करी है. जब तक अभी है रमजान तक है. कभी मैं कहते कोई मेरे किलो हो जाए, समझे ड्रामा है नहीं, जो कुछ भी नूंदा हुआ होगा ड्रामा में वो भी छल तक हो जाएगा.
I couldn't understand some of that, but then Baba said that whatever happens within the drama, that is fixed, and then it will continue to occur in that way.
कुछ भी नहीं होता है तो समझेंगे कि कल पहले भी ऐसे हुआ था.
In fact, nothing is new, because it happened in that way in the previous cycle too.
तो सेकंड नंबर सेकंड कैसी भी बातें होती रहे, क्योंकि बहुत ही कुछ आगे चल कर करके कुछ वंडरफुल बातें देखने की है, बहुत दुख की बातें आने की होती है.
And so second by second things pass, and we have to be in this awareness that they happened like this in the previous cycle, because as we move forward we're going to see many wonderful things. There's going to be lots of scenes of sorrow that we will have to witness.
क्योंकि समय में तो है ही दुख की बात की, समझे नहीं, परंतु उन दुख को हम कुछ फिक्र में नहीं रहते हैं.
Because there's going to be many aspects of sorrow that happen, but we are not going to remain concerned about that sorrow.
कोई फिक्र में नहीं है, फिक्र में है नहीं, क्योंकि वो जानते हैं कि हमको तो बाबा को याद करने, हमको तो बाबा को बताए, उनको भी बाबा को बता लेना है.
And so do we have any concerns? Do you have any? No, we don't have any concerns, because we know that we have to remember the Father and claim our inheritance, and they also have to remember the Father and claim their inheritance.
योग बाबा ने समझाया है क्रिएशन से कोई वर्षा नहीं मिलती है.
Because the Father has explained that you can't claim any inheritance from the creation. The creation is going to get its inheritance from the Creator. And so the creation means the sons and daughters. And all of you in the creation have to remember the Father. No matter what happens, whatever obstacles come, some people develop doubts, but you shouldn't have any doubts at all. Because you have to remember Shiv Baba, and there's no question of any doubts arising. If someone has any doubts, then what benefit would there be? They might get up from here and then say, well, what is this all about? But for many things, there's nothing that we can do. So what's the benefit of the doubts? Whatever happens second by second, that also happened in the previous cycle.
बच्चों का कल्याण किसमें है? बाप को याद करना, रास्ता बताना और उनको रास्ता बताते जाना.
But what is their benefit in for the children? In remembering the Father, in sharing the path, and relating that path to others.
ये तुम बच्चों का काम, बाप के सर्विस में.
And this is the job of you children, to do the Father's service.
रहते रहते अच्छी तरह करते करते कोई चला जाते हैं तो यही फिर समझना चाहिए कि इनको भी कोई जाकर के पाठ बजाना है कहाँ.
If someone who's been living here and serving then leaves from here, then you should understand that they have to go and play another part and do service elsewhere.
भावी है, कोई न कोई कल्याण के कारण ये सब कुछ होते हैं.
It's destiny that there's some benefit or another that has meant that they have to go.
तो बाप कल्याणकारी है और ये संगम युग ब्राह्मणों का हाई कल्याणकारी.
The Father is the benefactor, and for Brahmins this confluence age is definitely beneficial.
एक बात में कल्याण समझे, ये फख्र में रहना है क्योंकि हम ईश्वरी संतान है.
And so we have to understand this benevolent nature of confluence age, remain within the intoxication of this, and to continue to remember the Father and claim our inheritance.
ईश्वर से वर्षा लेते हैं, वर्षा लेते लेते कोई चले जाते हैं तो जरूर कोई उनका भी होगा पाठ का और कुछ का.
And so if while claiming their inheritance someone leaves their body, then they must definitely have another part to play.
समझे नहीं बच्चे, कोई से भी काम हो सकते हैं, ऐसे मत समझो नहीं हो सकते हैं. तो अब
You understand, don't you, children? It must be for some good and auspicious task. It's not that that can't happen.
यही कहते माँ को इस भी जात से कोई कार्य करना है नहीं है, इसलिए कोई भी फिक्र में नहीं रहना चाहिए बच्चों को.
Someone goes, they've gone to do some special task, and so this is why the children shouldn't remain in any type of concern, but should remain in their intoxication.
फख्र में ही रहना चाहिए. तो और सौभाग्य जो हमारा ही पाठ है, कल पहले बाप का मददगार बनने.
And we should remain within that intoxication, that we've got this role, just as we did in the previous cycle, to be the Father's helpers.
बनते बनते कोई जनरल भी मर पड़ते हैं तो बड़े पीछे वो जैसे कांग्रेस है जिसको अपन कौरव कहते हैं संप्रदाय देखो बैठ गए प्रेसिडेंट चले जाते हैं.
And so even when a general leaves their body, and then those that are part of the Congress party who call themselves the community of the Kauravas, they will also remember that one.
नेहरू चले जाते हैं देखो सारे भारत को ये तो है तुम्हारा गुप्त काम सब सारे भारत का चला गया तो क्या करेंगे कुछ हो तो नहीं हम समझते हैं ड्रामा सारी है सब कुछ होता है गया तो क्या होगा.
But for you, you are serving Bharat, the whole of Bharat, in such an incognito way, and so no one would even know that you've left. And what would anyone do anyway about this? You are serving the whole of Bharat.
कोई भी ऐसे नहीं कुछ करना है कोई नाम वाम तो कुछ करने का नहीं है हमारे सब कुछ गुप्त ये गुप्त.
And it's not like we have to make a big show and try and relate our names to everyone. Everything we do, we have to do in an incognito way.
वास्तव में अवस्था उनकी अच्छी है जो कभी भी ऐसे न समझे कि मम्मा का शरीर छूट गया आंसू आ जाएंगे नहीं आंसू आएंगे तो नापास हो जाएंगे.
And so this is an incognito stage, and those children who have good stages are the ones who just understand that Mama has left her body and no tears drop from their eyes. If tears are dropping from their eyes, then that is some level of disservice.
क्यों कि बाप बैठे हैं नहीं जो सबको वर्षा दे रहे हैं बस बाप को ही याद करना है.
Why? Because the father is sitting in front of you and you have to claim your inheritance from the father, and everyone has to just stay in his remembrance.
तो नापास हो जाएंगे अगर आप.
And so if you cry, then you're going to fail.
जाएगी नहीं है आंसू आ जाएंगे तो समझेंगे कि कोई ना मुख में कोई माँ हो या बाप हो समझे नहीं बच्ची नहीं और बाप अमर है शुभ बतो.
If you cry, then people are going to think that you're an orphan. However, you have the father, and the father is imperishable and immortal.
उसके लिए कभी कोई आंसू आने की दरकार भी नहीं है बिल्कुल ही.
And so you would never cry for him, would you? There would be no need to.
हमको तो खुशी से शरीर छोड़ने के लिए पुरुषार्थ कर रहे हैं ऐसे.
In fact, we are making effort to leave our bodies in happiness.
तो चलो ऐसे ही समझना चाहिए. अच्छा मम्मा का भी इस समय में ही जाने का था कोई कार्य अर्थ.
And so we should understand within ourselves that this was the time that Mama had to go for one task or another.
मम्मा है उनमें जो सबका पाठ है और इस समय में जो भी बच्चों का पाठ है भले कोई भी शरीर छोड़े अपने अपने अवस्था अनुसार तो उनका कल्याण ही है बहुत.
Everyone has their own part within the drama, and we should understand that whoever leaves the body, if they've got a part, they'll leave according to their stage, and there will be benefit and benevolence in everything.
जन्म लेकर के वहाँ भी कुछ अपनी खुशबू देंगे.
They will go and take birth elsewhere and spread their fragrance there.
छोटे बच्चे भी खुशबू देते हैं समझा नहीं बहुत.
Small children give a fragrance. You understand, don't you?
मैं माँ कहते हैं कि भाई ये फलाना था अरे छोटे पर में सरप आया था तो उनको लपेटा गया था कुछ भी नहीं उनको होता था.
And so some people relate these things, that this was a small child and the snake came to bite them, and actually the snake tried and nothing happened to that child.
कहते हैं महिमा दिखलाते नहीं तो फिर ये महिमा क्यों उनकी होती है. यहाँ कोई नया सोल है सबको पता उनको क्या कोई कर सकेगा क्योंकि उनको पास करना है समय.
And so the mother relates these things, and why is it that nothing happened to that child? Well, because it was a new soul, a Satapradhan soul, and so no one could touch that soul and do anything to it.
तो ऐसे ऐसे कोई चरित्र होते रहते हैं, वंडरफुल विचित्र चरित्र.
And so such stories continue to occur. There's these wonderful activities that happen.
तो ये भी एक चरित्र चलता है नहीं बच्ची. बच्चों को तो सारा ड्रामा के ऊपर और बाप के ऊपर मजा ड्रामा का.
And so these are all the different activities that occur, and the children have a foundation and understanding that everything is based upon the father and the drama.
जो कुछ भी होता है सेकंड ब सेकंड वो ड्रामा की नूंद है.
You know that whatever happens second by second is fixed within the drama.
ऐसे समझ कर करके और अपना खुशी में रहना चाहिए, हंसती रहना चाहिए.
And so you should understand this and remain happy and cheerful.
अपनी है गुप्त. कहाँ भी तुम जाएंगे तो भी शांति, कोई आवाज नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं. अभी भी तुम लोग जाएंगे सारी पर्सन जाएंगी. हाँ, जो चल सकते हैं थोड़ा बुढ़िया न चल सके न जाना है, बाकी तुमको जाना है शांत से बिल्कुल. जो जहाँ से तुम जाओ जैसे कि शांत फैली हुई रहती, कोई आवाज नहीं, वो सब वंडर का है.
And so even now, when you all go and you have your procession and see who can walk there, maybe even the older mothers can also walk, you will walk in complete silence. You don't need to make any noise as you walk, and then everyone will see you and they will feel that it is a wonder that you're moving with such silence.
कोई भी नाम रूप में हम लोगों को पसंद है, जो शरीर है उसको तो जाना ही है.
We just have to walk in Shiv Baba's remembrance, and we're not remembering anyone's name and form. Whatever is the body, that all has to go anyway.
हर एक को पाठ नूंदा हुआ है. अभी नूंद में हम रोएंगे तो क्या नूंद का पाठ बदल थोड़ी सकते हैं.
Everyone's role and part is fixed. And what's the point in crying? Crying is not going to change that.
इसलिए बच्चों को तो बिल्कुल ही शरीर शांत और हर्षित मुख.
And so children have to remain absolutely bodiless, silent and cheerful.
इसलिए नहीं कोई का आंसू, देखो नापास हो जाएंगे अगर आंसू रहा या दुख कोई को हुआ किस प्रकार का, तो समझे कि नहीं ये शायद नाम रूप में ईश्वर बाबा को याद नहीं करते हैं, दुख होता है.
And so you'll fail if you cry or you have any feeling of sorrow inside of yourself, and then we'll understand that actually you don't remember Shiv Baba, but you're remembering someone's name and form. We'll understand that you're remembering Mama and not Shiv Baba.
शिव बाबा की याद में एवं हेल्दी बनना है, शिव बाबा के कमाई में, उसमें कोई भी गफलत नहीं चाहिए.
And so you have to become ever healthy by remembering Shiv Baba, and it's through Shiv Baba's remembrance that you become wealthy and you have your income, and so we shouldn't make any mistakes in this aspect.
बड़ी मेहनत है इसमें, मजबूती है. जब हनुमान बनना है नहीं, माया का कोई भी लोना नहीं आवे, कुछ भी नहीं.
And so there's a lot of effort in this in order to become so strong. Look, you all want to become Hanuman, don't you? So that anything that comes from Maya, it cannot shake you.
जब क्या अटल अखंड राज लेना है तो अवस्था भी अटल चाहिए.
If you want to claim the constant, unshakable kingdom, then your stage also has to be constant.
हो जावे, कोई भी इस्तीफा हो जावे, चलो कोई छत गिर पड़ती है, हाँ होता है ना बच्चे, चलो 10, 20, 25 मर पड़ते हैं.
Whatever happens, anything could happen. For example, the roof could fall in, 10, 15, 20 people could die. These things happen, don't they?
ड्रामा की अफसोस की तो कोई बात है, कल पहले भी ऐसे ही हुआ था.
You just have to think that this is drama, it's not an aspect of regret, and you would think that this also happened in the previous cycle.
इत्तेफाक तो होने के हैं, हाँ, करते करते हाथ फिक्स भी हो जाते हैं. ऐसे नहीं है कि नहीं, कोई तुम्हारे में से कोई नहीं मरने की है, नहीं.
But people are going to have to die. It's just as we move along that will happen. It's not that no one will die, no.
कोई भी मर सकते हैं, कोई भी इत्तेफाक में हो सकते हैं.
Anyone could die, anyone could have a heart attack, it could all happen suddenly.
इसलिए बाबा बताते हैं, समझाते हैं कि बच्चे हमेशा अपने फख्र में कहा बाप के बच्चे ड्रामा है, इसमें जो.
And so the Father says that wherever you go, constantly stay in the Father's remembrance and in the intoxication, that this is the drama.
जिसको पाद मिला हुआ वो बजाता है, उसमें हमको क्या करना है.
And that whatever part anyone has received, they play that, and so what have we got to do with it?
समझा ना बच्चे. कभी बाबा नहीं आगे भी कहते थे, हमारा ज्ञान ही ऐसा है, अम्मा मरे कभी हलवा खाना, यानी ज्ञान रत्न लेगा.
And therefore, you will understand, don't you, children, that previously the Father also used to explain that our knowledge is such that even if your mother dies, you should eat halwa, eat a dessert, which means that you should stay in these points of knowledge.
अभी भी खुश रहे ना, समझा नहीं, क्योंकि
And you should remain happy. You understand, don't you?
फिर भी दे देते हैं. समझो बाबा कहते हैं बाबा भी चला जाए तो तुम बच्चों को फिर भी नॉलेज तो मिलेगी है ना.
Because you still receive knowledge. For example, even if this Baba goes, then you're still going to receive knowledge from the Father, aren't you?
कुछ बाबा से वैसा लेना है.
Because you have to claim your inheritance from Shiv Baba.
कोई इनसे तो नहीं लेने का था, नहीं.
You're not going to claim your inheritance from this one, are you? No.
बाप से तो बाप कहते हैं फिर बच्चों को बच्चे तुमको वर्षा मेरे से लेना है, नहीं.
And so the Father also says that, children, you have to claim your inheritance from me, don't you?
अब बच्ची जो है मेरे से लेकर के दूसरे को रास्ता बताती है, तो मैं.
And so the Father says that the children claim their inheritance from me and show the path to others.
बताने वाले बाप से रास्ता पाई कर तुम्हारा धंधा ये सो भी गुप्त युक्ति.
And so you attain the path from the Father and then you show it to others. And this is the service you do, and that is also incognito. You have these different methods for that.
और बिल्कुल शांति से कोई भी.
And you're going to do it with complete peace.
झगड़ा कुछ भी नहीं, बाप का परिचय.
You're not going to create any type of noise and just give the Father's introduction.
क्योंकि ये फिर भी तो वो चलेगा नहीं ये बात कि पिता परमात्मा सर्वव्यापी नहीं है, वो तो बाप है, वो भारत को कल्प कल्प पतित भारत को पावन बनाते हैं.
And so this aspect is still going to continue, isn't it? That the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is not omnipresent, and in fact every cycle he comes and purifies Bharat.
वोडी जैसे हीरे को बाप बनाते हैं, उसके लिए सर्वव्यापी कहना है, ये तो बड़ी गिलानी है.
He turns a shell into a diamond every cycle, and so to call him omnipresent is a very great insult.
तो बच्चों को अंधों के लाठी बनना है, रास्ता बनाने की बाप का परिचय देना.
And so children have to become a stick for the blind and show the path to the Father's introduction to everyone.
बस फर्ज है बाप को याद करना, हर एक के ऊपर मेहनत करना, ये बेचारा अंधा है.
And so it's our duty to remember the Father and to give everyone the Father's introduction and have the feelings that this poor person is blind.
बुद्धिहीन है जो भी.
That is, they are without understanding, without an intellect.
विद्वान है, आचार्य है, पंडित है, उनको सिर्फ
even the scholars, the teachers, the priests,
एक बात, परम पिता, देखो नाम ही ऐसा होता है, परम पिता परमात्मा जो रचता है उसके क्या संबंध है आपका? क्योंकि
you can ask them all that what is your relationship with the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul?
ये तो कहा जाते हैं ना बच्चे, तो पिता कहेंगे ना जरूर, तो बस पिता ही तो पतित पावन है नहीं.
Because everyone considers themselves to be a child of God. So then it would be that Father who is the purifier, wouldn't it?
पिता ही तो एक है नहीं, पिता ही
And that Father would only be one, wouldn't he?
तो पतित को पावन करने के लिए ये सहज राजयोग सिखलाया है नहीं.
And so it's that Father who is teaching Raj Yoga in order to make the impure ones pure, isn't he?
कृष्ण ने तो नहीं सिखलाया नहीं, कृष्ण तो प्रिंस था.
It's not Krishna who taught this, because Krishna was a prince.
तो बस वो सिद्ध करके फिर गीता का भगवान को.
And so try and prove this firstly, and then move on to the aspect of the God of the Gita.
तो सिद्ध हो जाएगा फिर निराकार, साकार और ब्रह्म कुमार कुमारियां, प्रजापिता ब्रह्मा तो है ही उनके कुमार कुमारियां.
And so then it will be clarified that he is the incorporeal, and then you have the subtle, and then here in the corporeal you've got the Brahma Kumars and Kumaris.
वो अपना पाठ बजाती है, रास्ते
And they are playing their role and showing the path to others.
बताने के लिए बहुत बच्चों को रहम दिल रखना है, और ये पुरुषार्थ ये बेचारे दुखी है, इनको सुख का.
And so the children have to remain very merciful hearted and think that this poor person is very sorrowful, and let's show them the path to happiness.
रास्ता कहाँ से पता, और कोई भी दुख सुख का रास्ता बताने वाला है ही नहीं इस दुनिया में.
And there is no one else in the world who can show the path to the inheritance of peace and happiness.
दवा एक है नहीं, लिबरेटर, दुख हारता, सुख करता.
So God is one, the liberator, the remover of sorrow, and the bestower of happiness.
है नहीं बच्चे, ये तो कोई है नहीं. और सर्व का एक, यहाँ तो बहुत ही सर्व सर्व करते रहते हैं, लीडर फीडर सीडर. सर्व का लीडर कोई हो सकते हैं, ये तो रॉन्ग.
And so he is the Father, and he is the one for everyone. Here they use this word everyone for many different titles. However, they don't actually do anything for everyone.
नहीं, सर्व का सुखदाता.
But he is the Father of all. He is the bestower of happiness for all.
उनको ही याद करना. बाबा कहते हैं तुम देखते हो इन तरफ, बाबा तरफ, तुम जानते हो कि बाबा इन द्वारा, इसलिए तुमको इस तरफ में नजर करनी पड़ती है. तो
And so you have to just remember the one. You look in this direction because you know that the Father is explaining through this one, and this is why you've got to look this way.
तो इनको तुम्हारी बुद्धि ऊपर में चली गई है, बाबा करके हमको इनसे ज्ञान सुनाते हैं.
And when you look at this one, your intellect goes up above, and you have the awareness that Baba is explaining to us through this one.
कभी बाबा के सुनाते, कभी ये भी सुनाते हैं. जैसे तो
Sometimes Baba explains, and sometimes this one explains.
माँ भी सुनाती है, बच्चे भी सुनाते हैं, तो सुनाते रहते हैं ना.
Mama used to explain, and the children also continue to explain.
तो वो नहीं घड़ी घड़ी कहेंगे कि बाप सुनाते हैं, नहीं, वो तो बाप ने समझाया. हाँ, बाप हो सकते हैं कोई के शरीर में प्रवेश कर कोई का कल्याण करने के लिए, वो कर सकते हैं.
And when the children explain, they wouldn't keep saying that the Father says this, but the Father has already explained to them, and then they are explaining that to others. Yes, it's possible that occasionally the Father could enter someone in order to benefit someone else. That is possible.
करता तो सब कुछ बाप है नहीं, तो सब.
because the father is the one who's doing everything anyway. And so we should remain in this intoxication that everything is done by the Father. There shouldn't be concern in anything, whatever happens. So, okay, we know that Mama is remembered as the number one serviceable. And so they show in her memorial that Saraswati was playing a sitar. And so definitely Jagadamba, the world mother, Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, she used to explain really well. But still, everyone understands that understanding that she was giving was actually the understanding that the Father had given. And so she used to also say, and everyone says, that remember the Father, remember Shiv Baba. But okay, you've got to hear knowledge through your ears, definitely, but you have to remember Shiv Baba. And so all of you, while you get up, walk around, move around, sit down, you have to, and also while explaining the aim and objective to others, you have to remember that aim is given by Shiv Baba. There's these two words that are famous, Manmana Bhav and Madhyaji Bhav. May you be a master of your mind and remember Baba alone, and may you remember the one in the middle, that is your aim and objective, Vishnu, Madhyaji Bhav. Everything else is details, and there's many details, isn't there? But what you explain is, in essence, remember the Father and remember the inheritance. And so, okay, when did the incorporeal explain about these things? And so then we have to explain this aspect to others as well. And we have to explain the praise and using the pictures of the tree and also that one. And so we know in our intellect that Baba is here. It's Baba's here. It's from Baba that we'll definitely receive our inheritance. It's from Baba that definitely Bharat did have the inheritance. But now it's the kingdom of Ravan. It's the time for defeat. And because of the defeat, look, it's insolvent. It's impure, it's corrupted. But it's not that it was always corrupt. In the beginning it was actually very elevated. And when it was elevated, there were the deities there.
ये गाए हुए हैं बरोबर.
And so you have to come into heaven, don't you? And this is why the caste system has been remembered.
देखो बरोबर बैठे हुए हैं बाप से ये सहज राजयोग जिसको पीछे वो गीता नाम रख दिया हम सीख रहे हैं हम.
Look, at this time Brahmins are sat here, and it's been remembered in the Gita that we're learning the Raj Yoga.
नहीं है अगर कोई सीखना छोड़ देते हैं तो क्या सीखेंगे वैसा तो ले नहीं सकेंगे.
And if someone stops learning this, then what will they do? Because they won't be able to claim their inheritance from anywhere else.
कोई भी संशय किसको पड़े तो बाप तो कहते हैं कि अगर संशय पड़ा ये हुआ तो बेचारा नुकसान कर देंगे अपने.
And so if anyone has any doubts about this and they stop studying, then what the father says that whatever is the doubts that have occurred, then you will just be thinking that this happened and that happened, and you will actually cause a harm to yourself, a deficit to yourself.
पढ़ेगा नहीं मेरे द्वारा या मुझे याद न करेंगे क्योंकि ये जो चित्र है वगैरह ये सब जाने के लिए रखा हुआ है. नहीं तो बात.
If you don't study through me or you don't remember me, because all of these pictures have been made in order for you to be able to understand.
दो है समझाने की बिल्कुल सिंपल. तुम बच्चों को तो बिल्कुल सिंपल लगती है जो तीखे. अरे भाई भगवान तुम्हारा क्या लगता है बाप लगता है नहीं तुम्हारा क्या लगता है उन्हें मैंने भगवान को जानते हो भाषा हो जाती है.
And so Baba just makes it simple in 2 words for all of you. It's completely simple. You just have to answer the question that what is your connection with God?
अरे पिता परमात्मा से क्या संबंध है. पिता पिता कहो भगवान ईश्वर परमेश्वर इनमें सब मूझ जाते हैं.
That is, what is your connection with the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul? And keep using this term Father, because if you use the term for God or Lord or any type of other term like that, it becomes confusing.
पिता तो तुम्हारा तो बरोबर है ही बाप से जो बाप ही बैठ करके पढ़ाते हैं द्वारा कि बच्चे.
And for you, you definitely have a connection with the Father, because it's the Father that teaches you through this one.
हालत में हर हालत में तुम बच्चों को कोई भी दुख की महसूसता नहीं आनी चाहिए.
And so for you, children, in any situation, there should be no experience of sorrow.
बीमारी हो बीमारी हो कुछ भी हो ये तो कर्म हो गए बाबा.
Whether you fall ill, whatever happens, you know that all of this is your karmic account.
रहते ये भाई क्या है ये करा कर्म हो गए करा कर्म.
And so the Father says, stay in happiness, and whatever happens, you know that this is a severe karmic account.
समझे नहीं पूछते हैं तो भी कहते हैं हो सकता है कोई बस बताते नहीं है. कुछ भी पूछते हैं तो बोलते नहीं ये तो बताने का बात है नहीं ड्रामे में बताने का मैं कैसे बताऊं.
And so people ask the Father as to why these things happen, and the Father says that if it's not within the drama for me to share the reasons, I won't share it.
क्या करें बाबा को बाबा कहेंगे ड्रामा में नून नहीं है कुछ बताने की.
And so the Father will say, it's not fixed within the drama for me to share this with you.
मैं कुछ बताता ही नहीं हूँ देखते चलो साखी होकर करके.
And so I don't tell you things in advance, you just have to remain as a detached observer and see what happens.
तो इसलिए बच्चों को भी साखी होकर करके बाप के याद में यही सफर कि हम ईश्वर के संतान.
And so the children just have to remain as a detached observer, be in Baba's remembrance, and maintain the intoxication that we are God's children.
ईश्वर के पोतरे और पोतियां
We are God's grandchildren.
से वर्षा लेते हैं.
And we are taking our inheritance from God.
ये रहे हैं बरोबर हम जानते हैं ये भी ईश्वर का वचन लेते लेते और वो शरीर छोड़ती है.
And we also know that this one was taking her inheritance from God and she left the body.
तो कोई भी छूट सकते हैं 10-20 कच्चे भी आगे चल करके आफतें तो बहुत ही है.
And anyone can leave their body, 10, 15, 20. There are many types of storms that occur that take large numbers.
हम लोग को हर एक को बस बाप को ही याद करना है.
But you children just have to worry about one thing, which is to remember the Father and claim your inheritance.
डिटेल में समझा सके पूछते हैं नहीं तो बोले पहली तो बात ये है नहीं बाप से वर्षा तो जरूर चाहिए तो बाप को मिला था नहीं अभी वर्षा.
And people ask, and those that can explain in detail, you can say that Bharat did receive its inheritance previously.
था जरूर था जरूर अब ये बात पुराना कैसे बना.
And so Bharat definitely was that. And how did this Bharat become so old? You come and understand how in the golden age it was new and in the iron age it's become old. The castes that you go through continue to turn. The births of 84 that you take, they continue to turn. The features that you receive in one birth cannot be replicated in another birth. When you take another name and form, another birth, then your name and form would have definitely turned and changed by then.
तो नहीं होगा नहीं फिर कभी भी वो कृष्ण वो हाँ साक्षात्कार हो सकते हैं भक्ति मार्ग में उसमें कोई संशय नहीं और यहाँ भी साक्षात्कार हो सकते.
And so Krishna's name and form would have also changed as he took another birth. And so that name and form of Krishna, where did it go? Yes, it's possible that someone had a vision of Krishna. That is possible.
वो बाप का भी निर्मा द्वारा क्या देते हैं ये वर्षा देते हैं प्रिंस का.
Because the father gives the inheritance through this one who was the body of the prince, the one who was the prince.
बच्चा जो भी दीदार करते हैं घर बैठे भी तो भी ऐसे ही ब्रह्मा का और फिर प्रिंस का.
And so anyone who was sitting at home, they used to have visions sometimes of Brahma and then also of this prince.
प्रिंस का बच्चे को क्या बच्चे तो सभी ताज वाला ही दिख रहे हैं तो सभी ताज वाले वो पिछाड़ी तक त्रेता युग तक भी ताज वाले ही देखेंगे.
And so what do they see? Because all the children there, they all wear these types of crowns. Right until the end of the Silver Age, all of these children will have these types of crowns with feathers.
तो ये होता है साक्षात्कार. अभी कौन सा प्रिंस बनेंगे ये तो है प्रसाद के ऊपर.
However, that's just a vision, and so which type of prince you become, well, that's all based upon the effort that you make.
जितना पुरुषार्थ करेंगे इतना ऊंचा प्रिंस सूर्यवंशी बनेंगे.
As much effort that you make, that higher level of prince in the Sun dynasty you'll become.
पुरुषार्थ के ऊपर हुआ नहीं ये बच्चे भी महसूस कर सकते हैं कि हम जितना पढ़ेंगे या इतना हम ऊंचे पद पाएंगे ऊंचा.
And so it's all to do with effort, and the children also realize that as much as we study, that higher status we will claim.
प्रिंस होते हैं वो भी प्रिंस सूर्यवंशी भी प्रिंस चंद्रवंशी भी प्रिंस.
And we will become that type of prince, because there's the prince of the Sun dynasty and there's also a prince of the Moon dynasty.
तो इसलिए बच्चों को तो पढ़ाई पढ़ना ही है कुछ भी हो जाए पढ़ना जरूर है.
And so the children definitely have to continue to study. No matter what happens, you have to continue to study. It's not that if someone's father dies, then they let go of their studies. It's not as if when someone's mother dies, the child then stops studying. No. They will continue to study. And so, no matter what happens for you, you have to continue to study. And it's not as if here, it's a situation where you won't study for a day or you'll stop serving for a day.
शांत बिल्कुल जाएंगे शरीर होकर करके पूछेंगे कोई तो भाई हाँ माता जी का वो शरीर पूछेंगे तो जरूर रास्ते में.
And so you will continue to do service because here there is service to be done in every situation, no matter what happens. And as you proceed from here, you will do so in complete silence, in a bodiless stage. And then people will ask you about this mother's body that you're taking to the funeral place. They will definitely ask you. And you will say that our mother's soul has left her body. And then they will be impressed that who is this mother, this Mateshwari that they're speaking about? And they are proceeding in so much silence. There must be something about this person. And you have to remain in such remembrance that there's no need to talk to each other either. No, remain in complete silence. And you're not to cry when you get there, otherwise human beings usually begin crying as they proceed towards the crematorium, and they cry at the crematorium too. But you are never to shed any tears. Because you have to remain in Shiv Baba's remembrance. If you do shed tears, then that means that you're not remembering Shiv Baba, but you had attachment to Mama. You are not to keep any attachment in Mama or in anyone's body, whether it's whoever it is, whether it's this one or that one. And so you're going to go there and definitely go there and see whatever is the scene. However, in your intellect should be one Shiv Baba. At every moment there should be in your intellect that that one is my Baba and I have to just remember him. He is the one that is teaching us, and he is the one from whom I have to claim my inheritance. He is the one that opened the lock in our intellect so that we've got the knowledge of the land of Brahm, of the subtle regions, and also of the beginning, the middle, and the end of the cycle down in this world. And so he is the one that did all of that. And this is why we know anything, and we become the rulers of the globe through that. And so we have to remain in that intoxication and also share with that type of intoxication.
तुम बच्चों को जो ब्राह्मण बने हो नहीं, बच्चे जो पक्के ब्राह्मण सच्चे, जब कोई लौकिक माँ का फिक्र होता है नहीं, तो लोग का तो बहुत होना चाहिए, समझो नहीं, फिक्र की बात बुझाने पर की बात कोई होनी नहीं चाहिए.
And so for you children, you have to remain in this type of stage. Otherwise, for Lokik mothers, people will definitely cry. But however, for you, who are firm Brahmins, there shouldn't be any of those sorts of things. You need to have a good stage.
देखो अभी बॉम्बे से आते हैं 2-3, बोलते हैं हम माँ का मुंह देते, बाबा फिर भी समझते हैं कि ये भी रॉन्ग है.
Now look and see, there are 2 or 3 who are coming up from Mumbai because they want to see Mama's face. But Baba's got the feeling and understanding that even that is wrong.
क्या मुंह देखेंगे, तुमको शिव बाबा को याद करना है.
Whose face will you see? You have to remember Shiv Baba.
देखिए क्या करेंगे, मुंह तो देखा हुआ है, दिल में है समाया हुआ.
But they will respond by saying that what can we do? We've seen her face and that face is stamped within our heart, and so we want to go and see her.
ये अज्ञानी लोग कहते हैं, जो लाश को रख देते हैं, साहब आवे आकर के उनका मुंह देखे. तो
this is what people without knowledge do. There's different types of people with traditions where everyone comes to actually have a look at the body, and so many people come at that time. But these are their traditions, aren't they? They're not our traditions. We are completely unique from all these things.
We
are doing things according to Baba's directions, and so if anyone doesn't have any directions and knows what to do, you can take them now. And so we are ready to take those directions, and we are 100% certain, and this is why we continue to ask Baba. The Baba, what should we do now? And so Baba says that children, you will have to make preparations and then you have to go. And so then we have to go, and while sitting here we get some sort of instruction. We get instructions from Baba and we continue to follow them. It's not really possible for anyone to say that Baba's instructions are wrong, because that in itself is wrong to say. Everyone should understand that Baba is the benefactor. And he brings about benefit in every aspect. And all of you understand that what is their benefit in. Because all of you understand that at the end, everyone has to come here, and there will be countless people who will come. And so people will definitely come here to see him. And so no matter what happens, your service is going to continue to expand. And for that, your activity should be divine. There shouldn't be any devilish traits within you. To fight with someone, to quarrel with someone, to speak bitterly to someone. And internally to have any types of cravings, greed, any types of attachment. If any Brahma Kumaris have any of this, then they get a very severe punishment for it. Because you've become instruments for this task. And so you have to make sure that you never give anyone any sorrow. You just have to give happiness, and you have to show everyone the path to happiness. No one should receive sorrow from you children. Even living at home, no one should receive, one shouldn't give sorrow to each other. Many parents ask that, our children are like this and they're like that, but as much as possible, you shouldn't give them sorrow. You have to give them teachings with love. And whatever tasks you perform, if you do it while you're in your stage of yoga, then it will work out really well. What happens when you hit them? And this is why they depict within the scriptures that Krishna was very naughty. In fact, he wasn't like that. But what is the example that they're trying to give? That we still have to treat even naughty children and make them move forward with love. If you look at children abroad, they don't live in such poor conditions as children here do, because here it's a Tamapradhan state. And so many children, they're still like lizards and scorpions, because it's been remembered in the scriptures that hell is like a very severe and a fearsome place. And so they depict it in this way. And look, you children, you see a lot of happiness, and you also see a lot of sorrow. And so these types of fearsome hell, this type of extreme hell, this has been remembered. And it's particularly been remembered for here in Bharat, because when you look at children abroad, they are taught with a great deal of manners, and they are nurtured in a particular way and manner. Here there is a minority that are taught in that way. And so this is according to the destiny of the drama. And so all of you have to live within your homes and operate with a great deal of tact.
कोई ऐसा न समझे अरे ये क्या, ये बच्चों को मारते हैं, ये
It shouldn't be that people look at you and they say, well, what is this? They just keep on hitting their children.
वो करते हैं. अभी ये तो तुम जानते हो बच्चे सभी ज्ञान में भरपूर तो है नहीं.
Now you children understand that not everyone is overflowing with knowledge.
कोई तो बहुत या तो अच्छी तरह से समझते हैं, घर में जाकर के फिर इनको माया हैरान करती है. तो
Some do understand really well, but they go back to their homes and Maya distresses them a great deal
कोई अविज्ञा कर देती है.
and makes them disobey Baba in one thing or another.
तो बाप समझाते हैं कभी परिपूर्ण तो कोई बना ही नहीं है.
But the father explains that no one has become complete as yet.
तूफान जोर से आते रहेंगे, दिन प्रतिदिन तूफान और विघ्न ये पड़ते रहेंगे तुम्हारे ऊपर और तुम इससे रम होते रहना है सबको.
And these two things, storms and obstacles, are going to continue to come upon you day by day. And you have to carry on studying and ensure that you are stable through all of them.
विघ्न तो आते ही रहेंगे. वो तो बाप कहते हैं नहीं, इस हमारे रुद्र ज्ञान यज्ञ में अच्छा विघ्न पड़ेंगे, तुम्हारी नॉलेज सारी दुनिया से विरुद्ध है.
And so the father says that within this sacrificial fire, obstacles will continue to be placed, because the father says that out of the whole world, your knowledge is completely unique.
नहीं तो हो गया ना एक तरफ में सब विद्वान आचार्य पंडित वगैरह, क्योंकि नॉलेज की बात है ना अभी.
And so it'll be a situation where everyone is on one side and you'll be on the other side. And so they will be wonderstruck really when they see you, because your knowledge is such.
मुक्ति और जीवन मुक्ति की बात हो गई है नहीं, तो
This is an aspect of liberation and life, isn't it?
उसका तो उन लोगों का तो रास्ता ही उल्टा बिल्कुल ही है. तुम्हारा
And the pathways that they all share is completely false and wrong, in the wrong direction.
तुम्हारा थोड़ी देखो माता है ये सब, और उनमें
whereas yours is correct, and then you look at the type of people that are with you, and it's mainly mothers as well.
को कोई समझा न सके, उल्टा समझाए तो बोलेंगे क्या ब्रह्मा कुमारियों की एकदम ऊपर नीचे लाते हैं.
So you have to be careful, because if someone among you doesn't explain properly, then others are going to have a wrong impression of what the Brahma Kumaris are, and then they will have a misunderstanding.
इसलिए फिर बच्चों को भी समझाया जाते हैं कि बच्चे पहले सबसे इतना ही ये बात के दो, ये पक्का सीख दो.
And so this is why it's explained to you that children, the best thing to do initially is to make sure that this lesson of the soul is really firmly understood.
कोई प्रश्न नहीं पूछे, प्रश्न जाए पूछने के पहले ये प्रश्न तो कोई पसंद आता है, हमारा बाप है बस.
And so even if someone begins asking questions, then prior to giving answers, first of all ask them that, do you like the fact that this one is our father? And if they say yes, just focus on that.
बाप ने नहीं कहा था आगे 5000 वर्ष पर एक मन मना भजन मुझे याद करो, तो कब.
So if the father didn't say 5,000 years ago that focus your mind upon me, manmana bhav, or remember me alone, mamekam, then
कौन सा टाइम था, बरोबर
what time did he say this?
टाइम था कि बरोबर महाभारत की लड़ाई थी, अतमक बॉम्ब्स थे, यादव कौरव पांडव थे, पांडव कौन थे जो ये बातें सुनाते थे, तो मन.
And so it definitely would have been at some time when it was the great war of the Mahabharata in front, when there were these atomic bombs available, when all of these things, these armies were present of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And who are the Pandavas? Well, that's those of you who are sharing all these things about being Manmanabhav and remembering the Father alone. And remember the inheritance, because everyone has forgotten these things. But it's not that you have to explain all the other things. Don't go into the other things. If they ask you, well, do you believe in the scriptures? Tell them, yes, we do believe in the scriptures. They are there, and we also see them, and we're aware of them as we're doing service. And we've heard that we don't listen to all of them, but we've heard that there are many scriptures and many Vedas and many Granths. However, so what? Because they're all part of the path of Bhakti, aren't they? This is the path of knowledge, isn't it? And this knowledge can only be given to us by the one Baba. And that Baba says to us, just remember me alone, that's it. And so we say, remember the Father, do it, don't do it, that's up to you. But all we say is that remember the Father and the inheritance. The Father had given the inheritance to Bharat of heaven, however now it's become hell. And so now it's become the kingdom of Ravan, and it's at this time that the Father comes and says, well, remember me alone, and also remember heaven. Remember me, and remember your land of happiness. And so this is all it is for us. It's no need to be asking so many questions, because this is it. And so it's not a case of you having to explain so many things. No, you just have to say that Baba has said, remember me alone. Just remember your Father, and who is he saying it to? He's saying it to the soul. And he says, remember me, and only by remembering me will you become pure. You've been bathing in the rivers for birth after birth, but the world has continued to become impure. And so the Father says, just carry on saying, explaining like this, Baba, Baba, Baba. And that will benefit you, because you'll have good remembrance as well. Because when you do this, then all the other things become forgotten, don't they? For us, it's just Baba and the kingdom, Baba and the kingdom. But otherwise, there are so many different opinions, and I mean, you just look at what's going on in the world, and there are so many different types of opinions. And who knows what will happen? Anything could happen. There could be civil war with each other. people just begin fighting against each other.
तुम क्या कहेंगे? हाँ, कल पहले ऐसे ही हुआ था.
But what would you say? You would say that this also happened in the previous cycle.
बस ये, और याद रखना है बाप को.
That's it. And then you just have to continue to remember the Father.
याद भी रखना है और उसको रास्ता बताना, बस एक.
You have to keep remembrance and show others the path.
बस अलग समझाते रहो.
And so Aleph, Alpha, has said that you just have to continue to explain this. And this is known as giving the introduction. And so this is called the introduction of God, and that's all it is. And so don't approach it by saying that I am the one saying this, but just use that approach where you're saying, well, this is what Baba is saying to us, and this is what Baba is explaining. It's Baba who says, remember me alone. But otherwise explaining, well, everyone has everything in their own intellect already. But in particular, these Kumaris have to continue to explain. You remember the Father, you remember the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, and so by continuing to remember Him, you can receive the unlimited inheritance. By remembering your Lokik Father, your physical Father, you can claim a limited inheritance.
तो इनको भी तो समझाना चाहिए, जो थोड़ी बड़ी है इनको भी समझा, फिर भी जो यहाँ की होंगी वो अच्छी तरह समझ जाएंगी.
And so you have to explain to her, the one that is more senior in that group, and then if she belongs here, then she will understand.
होंगी तो जाके शादी वादी करेंगी, उनका संस्कार ही दूसरा देखने में आएंगे.
If she's not part of this religion, then her sanskars will be different, and she will continue to have all sorts of different thoughts and debate with you, because her sanskars are of a different variety. So you understand, don't you? And this is why you are the smartest people in the world. There's no one as smart, which is known as intelligent and wise, and you are not just intelligent, you have unlimited intelligence and wisdom. Wisdom. Everyone else is wise in a limited way, but you are wise in an unlimited way. And so it's a difference of day and night, isn't it? Between intelligence of the unlimited and intelligence of the limited. And so you should remain in this intoxication, shouldn't you? And so we're not worried in any aspect, because we know that the drama is continuing and this is their part. And so this continues to happen, but it's not as if we all have to remember that one. It's not if some man dies or some woman dies, we just continue to keep remembering them. Or that someone's child dies and they just become like a devoted lover to that dead child. It's not like someone dies here and we just continue to become their lover. No, if we keep on doing that and we have a lot of sorrow over their death, then people would just say that we are without any knowledge as well.
Mama गई है, पार्ट उनका था, वो एक्टर है, गई है, दूसरा कुछ एक्ट बन जाने उसमें मुझे.
Mama left. She was a soul. She must have had to play another role, and so that's why she's gone to do that. There's no need to be confused about this. There's no need to be shocked about this. There's no need for any tears about this. There's no need for any sorrow about this either. She must have gone for some other service, and it must be an even more elevated service. Day by day we continue to become more elevated, and so the service becomes more elevated too. And so she will definitely go to perform such elevated service. And so the children shouldn't have any sorrow about this, and there should be no tears. And your face shouldn't go pale either. Everyone should just go with a cheerful face, and when everyone says mama, mama, they should remember within themselves that we have to go up to Baba. Everyone's connection is with Baba. Even Mama's connection was with Baba. She attained knowledge from Baba, she did service, and now she's obviously gone to do some other service somewhere. And we continue to observe all of this as detached observers. It shouldn't be any extra thoughts as to, well, this soul must have gone here, and where did they go? They went there, and what are they doing? No, the soul just went, and they've gone to play another part. That's enough. The body is just going to go back to the ashes anyway. And this is why the children have no types of concerns. But it's definitely the case that we would think in our minds that this student of Baba's was a very good student. And this is why she is remembered, because out of all of you students, she was the best. And okay, she's gone, so she must have gone to bring about benefit for others. And service is done by the Father through her anyway. And so we have faith that that's all to do with Baba. And so all of us have to stay in the remembrance of the Father in any situation. And if anyone sulks with him, then you're not going to be able to claim your inheritance from him. If you have any type of doubt in the Father, then everything finishes. your status will be degraded.
इसलिए बाबा बच्चों को समझाते रहते हैं, बच्चों कोई प्रकार का फिक्र नहीं करो.
And so this is why the father explains that children don't have any type of concern.
डायरेक्शन जो मिलते रहे अमल में आते रहो, और ऐसे मत समझो तो को ये बाबा ने रॉन्ग दिए. और
whatever directions you continue to receive, continue to put them into practice, and don't have such thoughts that Baba did the wrong thing or made the wrong decisions.
हो गया, बाबा ने कहा नहीं, अच्छा तुम बैठ के तपस्या करो, हो सकता.
It's not that Baba said something and then it was wrong and it didn't happen. You continue to sit in tapasya and then it's possible that Mama's soul could come back. And if she doesn't, well, that's the destiny. We have to continue to stay in Baba's remembrance, don't we? We have to continue to bring about benefit. And so to also be beneficial for that soul. And so there was that connection, but now that soul has gone to do other service. And so we shouldn't be concerned about anything. And the father says, don't have any concerns about anything. And surely the only person having a concern would be someone who's forgotten the father. And forgotten knowledge. And so after having 5 minutes silence, it's okay for people to come and go, and only a few should remain there till the end. And then whoever wants to come and stay here in Baba's remembrance, they can do that, because we want to accumulate our income anyway. And so wherever you are, you just continue to remember the Father. And it's said that wherever you are, it is your income being accumulated. And so people say to Baba that, can we come? Is it possible to do this? And so Baba says that whatever's in your heart you can do. However, you must continue to remember Shiv Baba the Father at the same time. You understand, don't you? That you continue to remember the Father, and then you can carry on walking in the procession.
भाई तुम बच्चे सभी नॉलेज मास्टर नॉलेज फुल हुए हो ना, जो नहीं हुए है हाथ उठाओ.
And so you've all got knowledge, haven't you? And the Father says, all of you have become master knowledgeful, haven't you? Those who aren't master knowledgeful, raise your hands.
No, सभी knowledgeful है.
Look, everyone's knowledgeful.
वो knowledgeful हो गया, तो knowledge से
And so if you're all knowledgeful, then through that knowledge you'll all claim the highest and high statuses.
Knowledge मिलती रहती है, किताब भी कोई चले जावे, हाँ, knowledge मिलती रहती है.
And you continue to receive knowledge. It doesn't matter who goes, you will continue to receive knowledge.
अच्छी तरह से. हाँ, ये होता है कि क्या वंदन है, ये ड्रामा में ये भी कोई पार्ट है क्या? अच्छा.
And you will receive these teachings really well. Yes, it's true that something happens in the drama and you see the wonder of it, that even this happens in the drama. But it is their part, and so what can we do about it anyway? So then that's it. But we have no questions about it. But if someone does have a question, then come and ask Baba about it. If anyone has any doubts about anything, then it's okay to write to Baba and ask him about it. And so you can ask, but then what is it that the Father always says to us? You have to study, you have to remember the Father, and you have to remember the inheritance. Apart from that, why is your intellect wandering around into all these things? And you understand, don't you? And so Baba will ask that, what type of doubt do you have? Do you have doubts in the Father? No. Then continue to remember the Father and continue to study. Don't make your intellect wander around in all these things. You don't need to spoil your stage in this. Yes, it's possible that someone will have a doubt and their stage might be brought down because of it. And it's been remembered in the Gita that a doubtful intellect destroys. But you have to claim your inheritance from the Father, so you have to remember the Father and remember your inheritance. Don't worry about anything else. And so if you want to go to the funeral, then go, that's fine. But you can go in a very good way with a lot of silence, and then people will also see that. But no one is to play any music, no one is to talk, there's not to be any type of instruments playing. People will just see you walking in a procession in silence. And so if anyone asks you anything, then you can ask them. So are you asking because you've got some sort of doubt? But instead of that, continue to remember the Father in an incognito way and claim your inheritance. Create some sort of method and understand that we're claiming our inheritance from the Father, and the Father is creating heaven for us. You understand, don't you, that this is our mission, that we are serving Bharat with our body, mind and wealth, just like Mahatma Gandhi wanted everyone to do, and we are making it into heaven. You understand, don't you? So in essence, you've told them what our mission is. And then all you need to say is that you just have to remember the Father and continue to remember the inheritance.
और बढ़ता जाओ, हम भी तुमको
You will continue to wander around, but the Father says, just remember the Father and remember the inheritance.
ये अच्छा तुमको पछाड़ी तक याद पड़ेगी.
And these words will remain with you right until the end.
ये मंत्र दिया, ये मंत्र देते बाप को याद करो और उनसे सब.
Because these are mantras to remember the Father and through him claim your inheritance.
ये महामंत्र.
And so these are the great mantras.
कोई है ना तुलसीदास चंदन जैसे तिलक करेगा गुबीर, तो ये गुबीर कहते हैं.
And so there's a saying of Tulsidas and Ram.
सरपति के पावन सीताराम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम.
And they call out to him in this way that the purifier Sita Ram, and then this is the King Ram of the clan of warriors of Raghu.
तो रघुवीर का नाम लेते ना, बोले ये बाप है, ये अभी तिलक दे रहे हैं.
And so they continue to take the name of that Ram, but in fact it's this Father that is purifying you.
राज का भाग जो
And he is giving the kingdom to Bharat.
बाप को याद करेंगे वो स्वराज पाएंगे. बस बात का मतलब की यही है.
And so those who remember the Father, they will gain the inheritance of heaven.
और कोई भी पोछा बच्चा हो बहुत पढ़ी, वो अभी वो नहीं पढ़नी है, समझे.
And so, okay, we studied all those scriptures a great deal, but now we don't need to read them anymore.
अभी ये पूरी है, अभी बाप का सुन.
Because those things are now finished for us, and we just have to remember the Father.
अच्छा 5-10 मिनट साइलेंस में बैठ करके फिर जाओ, दूध पीना है तो पियो, बच्चों की संभाल करो.
Okay, sit in 5 or 10 minutes silence if you want to, and then go and drink some milk, go and make sure that the children are all okay.
लो ब्रह्मन को बोलने से जो प्रोग्राम दे देंगे, हर एक पार्टी के जो भी प्रोग्राम पूछ करके दे देंगे.
And speak with your teachers, and the teachers should give their program for each of the parties.
किसको कुछ भी भूख लगे, हाथियों की कोई बात नहीं है. फल फूल.
If anyone's hungry, remember this is not Hatha Yoga, so whatever types of fruit or anything you need.
लो तुमने दूध पी लो, कुछ खाने चाहते हो तो भी ब्रह्मन को बोल दो, वो बना के दे देंगे.
Any type of milk you want to drink, fruit, you can have it. And if you're hungry, just tell your teacher and she'll make it for you and send it to you.
नहीं तो ये भी तो रखने में तो सबसे तीखी है माताएं.
But the people who are best at keeping fasts are mothers.
पुरुष तो उतना भी तो रखते भी नहीं है कभी 7 रोज का. तो
some mothers keep fast even for up to 7 days.
ये सीखेंगे क्योंकि ये भी अभी माताएं हैं नहीं, ये सजनिया है.
And so these Kumaris will also learn from you because they're also mothers now, because they are brides of Shiva.
सभी भक्ति है ना बच्चे, तो बस वो तो रस्म रिवाज थी. चलो अभी तुम भी सीताएं हो.
Okay, I mean all of those fasts were all rituals, but now you are all practically Sitas.
तुम भी तो राम के फंदे से फंसते हो. अगर न खा सको तो हर्जा नहीं है बच्चों.
And so you are married to Ram, and if you can keep a fast, that's fine, but if you can't, that's no need for that.
तो खिलाओ, नहीं तो फिर शाम को भोजन बनेगा.
Otherwise, and if you're okay with fruit and things, we have that now, and then the proper meal can be made in the evening.
2 बजे का टाइम अभी रखा हुआ है, और अगर थोड़ा भी जास्ती आएगा मामा का इशारा तो जल्दी कर देंगे.
And so we've kept a time of 2 o'clock for Brahma Bhojan, for the meal, the afternoon meal, but maybe a lot more people might arrive, and so we'll have to see what happens with regards to the pull from Mama.
बाकी कोई के लिए ठहर नहीं सकते, हम चाहे तो भी ले जाए, वो बोले वाह हम आई है मम्मा का, बोले हम बोल देंगे तुम तो नाम में फंसने वाले हो, क्या शिव बाबा बोल गए तुमको.
But we can't stop anyone from coming, and but what we'll say to them is, they'll say though they're coming to see Mama, and we will have to challenge them and say that, are you just coming to see Mama, or are you also remembering Shiv Baba? Who taught you to remember the name and form of people? So you're all welcome to come, but it's not a case of everyone just comes and just because they want to see Mama's face. No. If you just want to see Mama's face, then that's a sign that you are caught up in her name and form. We have to remember Baba, and so it's not a case of seeing anyone's face and name and form. You see that through your physical eyes, but you've been given a third eye through which you can see the Father. So which eyes are better, these two eyes or the third eye? And so the Father says that whatever you see through these eyes, continue to remember me. Because your income is in remembrance. And so you will receive your inheritance only from the Father, but apart from that, remembering anyone else has no benefit.
हाँ बाबा आते हैं, वो भी आकर के बच्चों को देखते हैं, खुश होते हैं कि देखो ये बगीचा बन रहा है.
And so the Father comes and sees everyone. However, even this one's intellect's yoga is up above with the Father. Yes, the Father comes and he enjoys coming to see all the children because he likes to see how the garden is growing. These are currently Brahmins, and later, afterwards, the garden of deities is going to be created. But all of these are effort makers. They are all trying to become good flowers and also show themselves to be that, and to make others into flowers. And so just remain engaged within this. And so you are remembering the Father, and you're keeping a very stable mind and intellect at this time. But those who are coming from outside, many of them will fail. Because what they'll be used to doing is just being shocked by the death. They'll continue to cry and make each other cry, and there'll be these types of cultures. And if this happens, what will happen is they'll cry, then they'll encourage others to cry, and the whole class will just begin crying.
समझा? हाँ, ये बाबा जानते हैं, पर बाबा कहते हैं वो फेलियर होंगे सब.
So you understand, don't you? Yeah, Baba knows about these things, but what will Baba say? That you're a failure if you do this.
जब ये वाणी सुनेगी नहीं तो अपने ऊपर है और वो समझेगी कि आप बहुत कच्चे हैं.
And so when they hear these teachings, then they'll understand themselves that we're very weak.
बाबा बैठे वो कितना पक्का कहते हैं, बाकी नहीं तो कुछ भी नहीं, अफसोस करने की भी दरकार नहीं है.
Baba's making us so strong. He's saying that no matter what's happened, there's nothing even to regret. But it's definitely true that she was here. And she was extremely clever. The father also agrees that she was extremely clever. However, she's got another task to perform somewhere. And so she's now gone there. But understand that if anyone hears this news and begins to cry, and then we will understand that they are not unshakable and that they have failed. They are not stable and they have not become the embodiments of knowledge. They don't remember the purifier father. The father says, only remember me. These two eyes are now closed, and you now have to see everything through your third eye. And it's as if you're crying, it's as if your eye of knowledge has become closed. It's been remembered that the one who cries loses out. Jin roya, tin khoya. But we understand that this was Baba's. Sorry, I couldn't make that out. But I'm continuing to look at all of you to see whether you are Mahavirs, great, brave warriors. And so different storms will come. Are people thinking that, oh, is this going to keep happening and people will take birth in this way? People will just continue to have thoughts. But this is drama, and so we just have to accept that. But some just keep on thinking about what they have to do, and they keep thinking about those actions. So today, Baba is not going to give toli to the children. But at other times, then Baba does continue to give toli to all the children. But that is all part of your inheritance from the Father. And out of all of those, what's the highest on high jewels? the mantras of Manmana Bhav, focus your mind on me, and Madhyaji Bhav, remember the one in the middle, remember the inheritance of Vishnu. And within those two, which is the highest jewel? It's Manmana Bhav, focus your mind on me. Because Madhyaji Bhav, remembrance of Vishnu, that comes automatically. The inheritance just follows the remembrance. This is the number one, highest on high jewel. Within the 8 jewels that's been depicted in the ring, there's then one in the middle, and that's Baba. And so who are those 8 jewels? They are the Mahavirs, the great brave warriors who have become most excellent among all the great warriors. And so a rosary is being created, and children have to make a lot of effort to become as close as possible in that rosary now, and then you will go into the rosary of Vishnu. And it's a question of effort in everything. Okay, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, the stars of knowledge. Love, remembrance and good morning from the Mother, the Father, Bap Dada.